Okay, it looks like we are live and officially about 20 seconds or so early, so that's good. Anytime we can start on time, I am a happy camper. Let me pull it up on the iPad, and if the audio's good, I know I'll be a happy camper. I'm just pulling it up here and don't hear anything yet. Okay, it looks like we are live. Okay, so there it is. About 20 seconds or so early. Okay, so let me know, folks, how that audio is. You know, we've had guests in here. We've been playing around with various settings and so forth. Let me know if the audio is okay. Rachel is going to have her own setup fully operational here very soon, so she'll be able to broadcast from her place, and she won't have to use this studio. Carlos is in the house. So, and that's going to be a topic of discussion as well, in addition to the three super watches. As a matter of fact, I just emailed myself the thumbnail for this video so that I can have that to show for folks that haven't seen it. And I'm just going to put it on the desktop here so that I'll have it handy. And the topic is 3 GS super watches. We're also going to talk about ugly watches again because it came up in one of the forums. This subject matter keeps coming up. And unfortunately, a lot of people apparently in this business have very poor taste. And I don't know what the solution is. And some of them have poor judgment. And some of them are rude. And, you know, most of them we block. Trollish behavior we block. But I digress. Let's not start on a negative note. It's Friday after all. Let's get positive. Let's talk about beautiful watches, stunners. Let's not talk about the ugly ones right off the bat. Let's talk about some stunners. And there are 3 beauties right there. That's the thumbnail that I actually used for this particular video. And I really don't think that anybody could debate that those are 3 stunners. I mean, how could you possibly, in your right mind, say that those are not 3 super watches, 3 absolute stunners, and a triplet of power and presence on the wrist, a triple play, if you will. And speaking of power on the wrist, there's the 005 stunner, which is one of the 3. There it is on wrist and a tight French cuff doing its thing as an all-arounder, as a potential travel watch all-around solution. And as we know, I am currently without a gold stunner. Most of the past 40 years I've had a gold stunner. There have been brief periods of time, a year or 2 here and there, where I was between gold stunners. And this is one of those time periods right now where I am between gold stunners. I have the 005 on wrist, and I have the titanium stunner there that I wear most of the time. I have to be honest with you. I wear that most of the time. And there's some spots on the crystals. I didn't bother to clean it. I just kind of hit it with a microfiber cloth real quick and threw it down on the bench there. So it has some speckles on it, and I'm sure some people will point that out in the comments. Oh, it's got speckles on the dial. It's not perfect. Well, those aren't on the dial. Those are just little specks of dirt on the crystal, folks. Hold yourselves together, for gosh sakes, people. Hold yourselves together. Ugly watches are large. Some of them are, absolutely. Carlos is in the house. A lot of people are saying hi. Everybody loves Carlos. And Thomas is in the house with a wrench. He's in to help out. A bunch of folks are in the house. Be or serve. How do you pronounce? Why don't we get handles, folks, that are easy to for me to assimilate with and for me to pronounce. Let's see here. 3-piece Hunger Buster combo meal deal. Jaden's in the house with a wrench. What costs more, your GS collection or broadcasting setup? That's a good question. You know, Rachel bought almost the same setup. There are some things she doesn't have. She doesn't have the the field mixer that I have yet, but that's only about $300. She doesn't have this mic and the boom arm setup. She's going with a lavalier mic. But a very similar setup, and she spent about $5,000 so far. Now that's no lighting. She didn't buy any lighting yet, but that's not terribly expensive. She's only running one camera, so she'd have to add a couple of cameras. So you can easily get up to around $10,000 or so. It can get out of hand pretty quickly as far as the cost. But yeah, the watches I think are a little more right now. The two watches that I have are about the same, and if I get a third watch, it's definitely going to be a lot more than the broadcast setup. If I get the third watch, the 002 Stunner. So let's see, why do you like the Seiko watch so much? Joel in the house, these Grand Seikos are amazing. Don't confuse them with Seikos. It's a whole different animal, and they are amazing. I should have a link in the description on this video to a page on my website that tells all about them. If you haven't seen that, I would strongly urge you, Joel, to take a look and kind of learn a little bit about Grand Seiko. They are amazing. I first learned about them about 6 or 7 years ago, and I just kind of slowly learned more about them, and then I finally saw the first one a couple of years ago, coming up on 2 years ago, when I went over to Steve's place, Little Treasury Jewelers, and saw one in the person for the first time. And that's what it takes. You really have to see one in person. They are amazing watches. So, and this is coming from someone who owned various Rolexes for 40 years, including several day dates. So, yeah. That's why I like them. So they are amazing. I go for quality. I go for quality. I go for quality. I don't buy what's popular. Somebody complimented me on the suit. Thank you very much. This is a perfect example. This is an old suit. Now it is made by Oxford, and it was sold new at Neiman Marcus. It's an Oxford suit. So it was a little bit pricey when it was new. But it's a very nice suit, very comfortable. But see, by today's standards, this would not be hip at all. I mean, they wear this jacket's relatively long, it's relatively full, you know, so you can move very easily. We talked on a previous show. The suits they're selling now, they look like they're little boys' suits. They're real short. Have you ever noticed the suit jackets are real short? They really look goofy, right? I mean, I wouldn't be caught dead in one of those suits. So even Brooks Brothers, the suits they're selling now, a lot of them are like that. It's just really ridiculous. So, folks, there's a real lack of taste out there. I'm a little bit concerned, and it's prevalent in the watch community, and we're going to talk about this. It is definitely prevalent in the watch community. So yeah, it's something to talk about. Let's see what else we're looking at. Craig, please look at your Google reviews. What reviews? Why would I have any Google reviews? Are you talking about on my business or what? Let me know which reviews. We have to call this guy out on the chat live. Well, if you cause trouble in the chat here, you will get hit by a wrench. Yeah, you will get blocked if your trollery is noticed by the wrench gang. You will be, how shall I say, blocked. So let's get started on the three watches and why these three watches are epic. Epic indeed. Let's start with the Spring Drive Diver, and there was a little bit of a discussion about this in one of the, how shall I say, in one of the online forums. There was a little bit of a discussion about this, and some people made comments about the clasp because there are stamped elements in it and so forth, and because it's a little bit bulbous, but I had the same impression when I first bought the diver. I actually asked Steve, I said, can I change the clasp out for a different clasp? And he said, well, try it for a while and see what you think. And so I wore it for a couple of weeks, and it is so useful and so comfortable. that now I've totally fallen in love with with that diver as a heavy use, daily use watch. Now on this channel we talk about watches that are actually used on wrist, not watches that are just shared in social media with macro photos and so forth and salivated over and talked about and not actually worn and used. On this channel we talk about watches that are actually used and worn. So somebody commented in here about somebody gave me a 1-star review. I could care what reviews people give me, and I could really care what comments people make out there in La La Land. I've talked in the past, 10 years ago or something, the Frederick News Post did a hatchet job article on me and tried to put me out of business because I'm a competitor of theirs. I own CraigShipp.com, and they tried their best. They took their best shot with an article that was totally misleading and full of lies and half-truths, and even the half-truths were kind of lies. And they took their best shot. It didn't work. I'm still in business. They're now out of business. They had to sell out for pennies on the dollar. They went out of business. And so, but yeah, they did some harm to me and to my reputation, and their article is still up. The people that bought out the newspaper, the article is still up and can be found if people Google me, okay? They referred to inappropriate websites that I put some photos up on. I have no inappropriate websites. All my websites are family friendly. If they think Flickr, a photo sharing site, is inappropriate, okay, fine, so be it. But I don't think Flickr is inappropriate, and I don't think any of my photos have ever been inappropriate. Now, I do take a lot of photos of extremely attractive females. They're all G-rated photos. If they don't like it, they don't have to look at them. And I did have a comment from somebody, a subscriber, that they didn't appreciate the fact that I'm putting up photos of Brianna and videos of Brianna dancing on my channel and helping to promote her brand, BrieFit Dance, and that they don't appreciate the fact that I'm helping Rachel out with helping her getting started with her show, promoting her real estate business, and that they're going to unsubscribe because of that. And I'll actually show you the comment. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And so, yeah, here it is. Okay, so January 23, and this guy, JJ4TI21, he can't even use his real name, right? I signed up for watch reviews, not real estate commercials and girls dancing, unsubbed. Okay, so here's a hint, JJ4TI21, whatever you are. I could care less. Move on. We don't need you. I've got 21 people watching now, and I would probably do the show if I had 2 people watching now. I do the shows because I feel like doing them and because I feel like I can contribute some information to the community. And I make a little bit of money on YouTube. $500 or $600 a month comes from my YouTube channel, and that's good. That can pay for some equipment. I mean, it's not nothing. It's not peanuts. So it's nice to have it. But I could care less. I'm fortunate in that I'm at a position in my life where I really don't need to earn any more income, and where I can pretty much do whatever the hell I want, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And one benefit of that is I'm not beholden to some company, like some of the watch channels that are sponsored by, a big company, and they're kind of beholden and have to say certain things and can't say certain things. I can say whatever the hell I want. So I kind of like that. And I kind of like the fact that we have this platform, and YouTube has given us this platform, that some of us that choose to put out content, that we can get on and do what we want to do. And I'm blessed that I am able to do this and able to be independent. And same thing with Frederick.com, by the way. I do whatever the hell I want, right? I own it. It's mine. I have no boss. So if I want to put a business on there and promote them, I can do it. If I don't want to put a business on there and promote them, I don't have to. So it's kind of fun, kind of enjoyable. So anyway, we got off topic there a little bit. I always wore Rolex. I would think it would be talking. It would be. I would think it would taking getting used to. You mean getting used to the GS from the Rolex? Please clarify that, and I will definitely address it. Let's see. Just look yourself up, Craig. Derek. I don't. I don't have time to be looking myself up all the time. Like I say, there is that one negative article out there from like 10 years ago, and some people have commented on it, and some people in the watch community have trolled me about it and so forth, and it's out there. And I mean, there's nothing I can do. I can't force them to take that article down, even though it's full of lies. I have addressed it on the channel here, and I've addressed it in a video. But you know, I move on, and most people I know it for what it was. It was a hatchet job trying to take out a competitor. You know, it's interesting that everything that they talked about in there, that there was no substance. If you look very closely at the article, there was no substance there. It's sort of like the Trump impeachment, right? I mean, he didn't commit any crimes, right? But he's like the worst guy on the face of the earth. But we won't talk politics on this channel. And I could care less, by the way, who the president is, because I've got things that I'm doing that affect my life, and whoever the president is not going to help me. So, you know, there's that. I'm about me and helping my friends, and that's enough for me. Let's see. What do you think of the soon-to-be-released GS SBGN 011 and SBGN 013 9FGMT? Let's see. SBGN 011. Let's see if we can bring that up. SBGN 001. Soon to be released. Okay, it's interesting. Well, here's something that says it's a 2018. And here is a SBGN 001 on the Grand Seiko website. So let's see what this is. Oh, it's $3,500. Oh no, that's the limited edition. That's been out a long time. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the limited edition version of the 005. Yeah, so that's been out a long time. So not sure what you're talking about. Soon to be released. Okay. Yeah, and Steve can definitely get you those watches. Not that particular. That was a limited production that is pretty much hard to get. You got to get that one used, but he can get the 005 Stunner, this one with the blue dial, which I actually prefer. That's why I bought it. Let's see here. You were making the guy jealous because he couldn't get a beautiful girl into a bubble bath. Hey, that could be the case. I mean, you know, hey, my experience is sometimes you just have to ask them, hey, would you like to have a bubble bath? And sometimes they'll say yes. If they say no, they say no. I mean, hey, just ask them. Back when I was selling cars back in the day, my sales manager said, you know, my best salesman, and I was one of the top salesmen at the time. I was the top salesman most months that I was there. He says, my top salesman can go into a bar and walk up to the most stunning young lady there and get her out on the dance floor. That's because he's got confidence and he's willing to ask them. And it's just like when you're selling cars, you got to ask for the deal. When you're selling anything, you got to ask for the check. Ask for the commitment. And it works. It does help to be kind and courteous and generous and nice and all these things that seem to have gone by the wayside. A lot of these traits seem to have gone by the wayside. So if you're all those things, you can do really well in this day and age. The bar has been lowered quite a bit, folks. I mean, you just dress nice and you stand out against most everybody else out there. They all dress like jerks. Yeah, hey, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if you're wearing the most incredible Rolex on the face of this earth. If you're dressed like a slob, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to help you any. Now, if you've got the whole package, if you're dressed nice, you carry yourself nice, you are have a little bit of couth, right? You treat the lady like a lady, it's probably going to work. And by the way, have nice shoes too. They look at your shoes, believe it or not. They do judge you by your shoes also. So have nice shoes. Okay. So let's see here. There's a big community on YouTube that doesn't want to see beautiful women. They want Rolex and rump. What's rump? I'm not sure what rump is. I'm not hip. Let's see. Am I thinking exactly? That bloke is evil and nasty. Okay. What do you think about Black Bay 58? I'm not I'm not a fan of any Tudors. I think I would rather spend that money on a used Rolex or even on an Omega. I think I'd rather buy an older Omega or buy a Grand Seiko. There's a number of Grand Seikos you can probably buy for that same money. So I think there are a lot of better options out there. I would pass on the Tudor. No one likes Tudor around here. I sold mine. No one wants the Black Bay around these parts. There you go. Yes, getting used to a Seiko clasp. Now, I will say this about the clasps. I am not pleased that this watch does not have micro adjustments. I think every bracelet should have micro adjustments. Now, that said, they did this to make it very trim, okay, and very thin. For me, it works because I only wear this watch in the wintertime when I'm wearing long sleeves. And so I need it to go underneath the sleeve. In the summertime, I'm wearing the diver. So it's a non-issue for me. I don't have to change this bracelet. I don't have to resize it because I'm only wearing it when my wrist is contracted in the wintertime. So all winter, this fits me perfectly. It fits me great. So for me, it's a non-issue. But if I was trying to wear this watch all year round, it would be an issue because I've got to take a half link out and in and out. And this is a pain in the neck to do on this watch because the screws are little tiny screws that you take out, and then there's a pin you take out, and then you take it's a cluster, you know what. So I agree that that's not a good design for people that want to wear the watch year round that have the issue that I have where their wrist changes size in the winter versus the summer. Now, some people don't seem to have that problem. So just like all situations with these watches, every person's going to be different. What's going to work for me may or may not work for somebody else. But I can tell you that diver is extremely versatile. For somebody that has at least a 7-inch wrist, I wouldn't recommend it for somebody with a smaller than 7-inch wrist. I know Tim said, like 6 and 7/8, you can still wear it, or 6.5 or whatever, but I'm not so sure about that. I think a 7-inch wrist, that watch is wonderful because it does have the micro adjustments. So you really only have to adjust as far as taking links out, once when you buy the watch. You adjust that properly so that the micro adjustments are in like the middle there's 4 of them, and then you can have room to adjust it as you need to summer and winter and never have to mess with the links. And by the way, we got into another one of the debates about the pins and collars on that bracelet. On that watch has the pins and collars instead of the screws. Pins and collars is a better solution than the screws. Full stop. It's a better solution than the screws that, for example, Rolex uses. The pins and collars allow the bracelet to be very flexible. They prevent wear because the pin can actually rotate on its axis. So as the bracelet moves, the pin can actually rotate so it doesn't rub against the center link as much as it does in a fixed screw situation. That's why you get the bracelet stretch. And that's why it's not as comfortable as a pin and collar situation. Is it a little more of a hassle to resize with the pin and collar? It's not that hard. If you've got the right tool, it's not that hard. I did it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But the thing is, with the diver, you don't even have to do that because once you do it once, you're done because of the micro adjustments. So it's a fantastic solution, and people that say otherwise have no clue what they're talking about. There's a lot of people I'm finding in this community that have no freaking clue what they're talking about. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but it just is the way it is. It's been a while since I made one of these live streams. Well, thank you. I'm not doing them as frequently as I was. I'm trying to do them when I can. Triforce Rich in the house. Here's the thing. I'm an advocate of doing these things, and I'm helping Rachel get started doing her live streams, and I would be kind of hypocritical if I was, talking my clients into doing this and helping them get started with live streaming, and then I stopped doing it. So I kind of have to do it, sometimes just so that I don't look like a total hypocrite. Carlos is in the house. Everybody likes Carlos. I think the important thing is what you like. I actually like some tutors, but not to the point to purchase. Something similar happens to me with GS. I hear you. Yeah, and that's a good point, because here's the thing. You've only got really one wrist to wear a watch on. These people that wear watches on two wrists, I don't get that whole thing, but really you've got one wrist, practically speaking, that you should be wearing a watch on. And I'm like, wear something you really like. If you've got the wherewithal to buy a nice watch, if you're in the station of your life where you have the disposable income to buy a really nice watch, and I only recommend doing that if you have no debt and you're financially secure, buy yourself a nice watch. Buy yourself something that you really like. Absolutely. Don't get the Tudor if what you really want is a Rolex. How about GS SBGA 211? Isn't that the snowflake? Let's pull one up. I don't know all the numbers on these watches. Yeah, as far as I know, that's a snowflake. Let's pull it up. Pull it up. Yeah. That'd be the snowflake. Yeah, I had one. I have some videos here on the channel. The only reason that I got rid of that watch is it really, for me, it wasn't the perfect dress watch. It was a little bit on the thick side. It's a little bit thicker than this watch. It's 12.6 mils, and this one's about 12.1. So it's a little bit thicker than this watch. And I would have had the same quandary that I had with rotating a date 8 with a Rolex GMT, where they're both auto wind watches, and you have to give them a certain amount of wrist time each day to keep them both running. I don't like to use watch winders, right? So I would have had the same problem trying to keep that snowflake running when I'm primarily wearing the diver watch most of the time. And so I just ended up selling it. And then I got this, because this I don't have to worry about. I can take this off wrist for a week and it's still running. It's the 9F quartz movement, right? So I can leave it off wrist in between uses, and there's no issue with it stopping. So that's, and plus, like I said, it wasn't the ideal dress watch for me, and I already had a sport watch, that watch right there, so it just became redundant, and I don't like having watches around that are redundant, that I don't really need. Of course, we don't need any of these things, right? The day I sold my Pelagos, I got laid. She wasn't the best, but it worked for a day and broke a cold streak. Okay, there you go. And still waiting for that job offer from the firemen in Florida. Got to get out of Wyoming, for the love of God. Is that guy still attending these live streams? That's a good question. Did anyone hear about Omicron Watch Japan? They have good prices on Chrono 24, and I'm considering getting a SBGA 293. Let's pull it up. 293. 293. Dun, 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 dun. See what we got here. Oh yeah, that's a good looking piece. That's a nice looking piece. I don't think it would be my first choice, but it's a nice looking piece. If you can get a good deal on it, it's a spring drive. Does it have a deployant clasp, or does it have a standard clasp? And let's see here what the thickness is. 12.8. So it's a little bit thicker than a snowflake. Of course, movement is the spring drive. I wonder if it has a screw-down crown. It probably does because it's 10-bar water resistant, so it probably has a screw-down crown. Interesting piece. Interesting piece. I'd kind of have to see it in person before I decided for sure. Let's see here. And somebody said there's a hidden one. Watch guys are mostly follow the leader retards. We probably can go ahead and leave that comment in there because it's pretty true. Let's see, how do we show it? Do we show it? Can we show it? There we go. I guess we showed it. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of truth in that statement. So I went ahead and showed your comment. Let's see. Another Craig is in the house, and a happy Friday from another Craig. Absolutely. Well, I'm blushing. Not sure that is good. And everybody loves Carlos. So happy Friday. David's in the house. Everybody loves David. And let's see. What's the service cost on a spring drive? I don't think you have to have them serviced. I think it would be about the same as having a Rolex serviced in that price range, but I seriously doubt you'll have to have it serviced. I don't know how old you are. I don't know how long you plan on keeping the watch, but I don't plan on ever servicing that watch. I'm sure it will run decades. It will run until the end of my lifetime. They're very robust. By all accounts, they'll run for decades without having to be serviced because they don't have an escapement, a typical escapement that causes a lot of the wear and tear and problems in watches. Yeah, it'll run for a long, long time without having to have any kind of service or having the case opened in any way, shape, or form. So I wouldn't worry about that issue. I heard no one's services are hard to get in the States. You mean servicing? No, servicing. They'll service the spring drive in New Jersey. They do have a man there that services them there. They do not, as far as I know, they do not service the ones with the chronograph. Those go back to Japan. But hey, in this day and age, things can get back and forth to Japan in a couple days. I mean, we're not in the old days where they put them on a steamship and it takes 3 weeks, right? I mean, so no, I wouldn't. That's really a non-issue. The president is in the house. I think that was pre-presidential March. Okay, not sure what exactly that means, but okay, Wyoming is a state I haven't been to. Okay, Wyoming is pro Bitcoin, pro crypto. Bitcoin was pumping again today. It did a little dumping yesterday, but it was pumping again today. Buddy of mine said, hey, what about that Bitcoin thing? I was thinking about buying some when you told me about it, and I thought it was expensive. It was $1,250 when you told me about it, and it's over $8,000 now. What do you think? And I said, well, you could wait until it's like $20,000. You could buy it there. I said, you can wait as long as you want. You can come in whenever you feel comfortable. If you want to buy it at $50,000, you can do that too. Just wait. Just wait. It'll get there. You can buy as high as you want. Yeah. Let's see. Watch dealers won't touch them. Yeah, I wouldn't have an independent mess with my Rolex, to tell you the truth. I had 2 different Rolexes serviced back in the day. I may have had 3. I always had Rolex do it. I had 2 of them serviced at Rolex in New York, and then they shut down Rolex in New York, and then I had Texas do it, Rolex in Texas. Now they've, from what I understand, reopened Rolex New York Service Center, and you can have them done there. So that's what I would do. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of having, everybody talks about, get an independent guy to service your, no, I wouldn't have some independent guy mess with my watch. Who knows what the heck he's going to do? Who knows if he has the parts? I wouldn't go there. Of course, I don't have watches serviced unless they actually need it. They start running slow or something like that, then I'll have it done. And generally speaking, a Rolex, if you buy it new, I mean, you'll probably go 20 years or more before you have to have it serviced. Save your money, folks. Don't throw your money away. Oh, somebody says, oh, it'll be totally damaged. It'll be ruined if you don't have it serviced every 3 to 5 years by a qualified watchmaker. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. After 20 years, you take it to Rolex. They take it apart. They replace any worn parts. They put it back together. It's like new, and they charge you the same thing as if you went in there after 5 years. There's no difference. No difference. People spread so much false information around the watch channels, and they're usually watch guys that are trying to get your money to service your watch. That's how that works. Yeah. Don't trust people that have an axe to grind, that have an agenda. Don't trust those people, okay? Just saying. Let's see here what else we got going on here, because we're about to wrap this puppy up. We didn't even really show the 3 watches that we're talking about. We should show the 3 watches, shouldn't we? First of all, let me bring up that image one more time of the three super watches. 3 GS super watches, the 005 that is on my wrist as we speak, the 002, which is not in stock yet at Little Treasury Jewelers. I want to look at one as soon as it gets in stock and make a decision what to do on that gold stunner in the middle. And then the 231 titanium diver that's on the bench right there and keeping amazing time with that nice sweep second hand doing its thing. Those are the 3 super watches. So let's try to pull up the video on the 002. I wonder if I can shoot. I wonder if I can find it here. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, folks. Don't anybody panic. I'll let you know when it's time to panic. Got some moire going on this suit. That's why I don't often wear this. It's got a fine pattern to it, and it creates that moire in the it creates that moire on the cameras can't handle the pattern. And so that's the issue there. Okay, I'm going to try to pull up this video of Tim showing off the 002 because it is amazing. Amazing. Just give me a moment. Don't anybody panic. I'll let you know when it's time to panic. I already said that, didn't I? Okay. And we'll pull up this video of the 002. It's worth waiting for, folks. It is worth waiting for. Here we go. Stand by.
1999 manual wind spring drive caliber. This is the Grand Seiko Elegance Collection spring drive hand wound, part of a collection informally dubbed the Thin Dress series.
Look at that.
This 20th anniversary watch is graceful in yellow gold at 38.5 millimeters in diameter.
Look at that profile. Look at that.
Circumference wrist.
Look how it fits. Look at the lugs. Look how gorgeous it is. Look at the taper of those lugs.
It will easily slide
That's no
underneath
super
a tight
case,
dress sleeve,
but it's still got
nice
bulk to it as far as, you know, it doesn't look strong, looks sturdy on wrist.
Between the lugs. Though
has
the
a
watch
presence.
is honoring a technology 20 years old, the proportions, outright dimensions, and specific styling decisions seem to hark back to the golden age.
That is stunning, folks. Stunning. The 002 SBGY 002 in the house. I got to see one in person, though. It's got that nice snowflake dial. Look at that beautiful dial with the contrasting second hand. I don't know if that second hand is blued titanium or if it's just steel that's blued or how they do that, but it's stunning. I think that makes a Calatrava look ordinary. I think it really does. I think it just takes things to a whole new level, folks. So what we're looking for on this channel is we're trying to take things to a whole new level as far as style, class, beauty, elegance. Yeah, that's what we're into here on this channel. And folks that aren't into those things, move along. There are thousands of other channels out there that you can go to that don't include all those things. You know, style, beauty, elegance, class. And that's not me I'm talking about. I'm talking about other people that are on the channel here. Brianna, Rachel, Audrey Scher, she was on the channel for a number of years. Talk about style and class and beauty. Yeah, so there's all that. And of course, we had Sarah. We had the Cowgirl. Cowgirls Live, Sarah. She was amazing, and the trolls ran her out. See, the trolls get to these people sometimes. The trolls attack them. And they're in their mom's basement with their short arms, like this. And they get on that keyboard, though, with those short arms, and they attack these people and try to drive them off the air. And sometimes they succeed. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Cheetown, you should do a show about fragrances with Craig. Well, there you go. Oh, let me go back to my comments here. Craig, what's the number one biggest change you would like to see Grand Seiko make to their watches? Well, I think watches like the Snowflake and a lot of those watches should be made thinner. 12 millimeters max thickness. I think that would be good. And I would like to see micro adjustments on all the bracelets. I think that would be a good thing. Not a whole lot of other things, though. I mean, make them thinner and make some smaller. So make more 38 mil watches like this one here. This one's, I think, 38.5 mil. And that one's like 10 mils thick. Yeah, more of that sort of thing I think would be kind of cool. Why do I hear you should service it every 5 years? Because those people want to make money. They want your money. Here's the thing. They want your money transferred from your pocket into their pocket. That's how that works. G-Town, you should do a show about... Okay, I read that. Craig, do you think that Rolex prices will continue to rise? Yeah, they'll rise until... You see, here's the thing. The Rolex prices are really not going up. The value of your fiat currency is going down. And this is happening constantly. 2 to 3% a year. Now, Rolex raised their prices more than that because they can. But the bottom line is your fiat currency, whether it be pounds, US dollars, whatever the hell it is, it's losing purchasing power constantly. So these things are going up in price because you're having to spend more fiat to get them. It doesn't mean that they've really gone up in price. It just means that your fiat is worth less. It has less purchasing power. I mean, if you think about it, you could buy a really nice house in Georgetown in like 1920 for, of course, it was kind of a slum then, but anyway, you could buy a nice one of those nice big row houses for around $3,000. Now it would be 2 or 3 million, And that's just because the currency has been deflated. The currency has lost value. And that's continuing to happen. So, yeah, that's how all that works. Bitcoin solves this. So, not financial advice, but yeah. The only Rolex you should be careful about regular servicing intervals are the vintage models. Rolex doesn't make replacement parts for some of them. Yeah, you could have a problem on your hands. It's like older cars. I mean, it starts becoming a problem getting servicing done, and it's not, there's no easy solution. I have no interest in wearing vintage Rolexes. I wore them back in the day. I bought them new back in the day. It says how old I am, right? So I don't have any interest in buying them now. I mean, I wore them then. I'm not going to buy a 40 or 50-year-old watch now and wear it. I mean, why in the hell would I do that? The new ones are a lot better. Now, I wouldn't buy the super case. In that case, I probably would buy vintage just because the super case is ugly. But if I was buying a new Rolex today, I would buy a 36 mil Datejust in a heartbeat. I would buy a Yachtmaster. It's beautiful. A new one in particular, I think, has the 72-hour power reserve, has a lot of improvements. Yeah, I'd buy that over a vintage one any day and just wear it and enjoy it. I don't get the whole vintage thing. Of course, I'm not a collector. You know, I don't buy my watches to have them sitting around in boxes or in a safety deposit box or in a safe or whatever, and to occasionally share photos of it on social media. I mean, that's not what I do. I buy and wear my watches. Been doing that for more than 40 years. I'm going to keep doing it. Not going to change now. Let's see here. I trolled you on Richard Mille watches. Sorry. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'm not talking about a little bit of playful banter back and forth. I'm just talking about nasty trolls that are trying to do harm to people that they don't know anything about. Those are really what the trolls are. Trolls are up to, and they get blocked on this channel, so they don't survive. Let's see. There are a few I can recommend. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So let's see. I hope you still use soap and deodorant. Okay. Neo vintage 5-digit Rolexes 1990s to 2000s are generally the sweet spot for out of production models. Well, there you go. Yeah, and you can probably still get them serviced, I would guess. Is it okay to wear any mechanical watch on a casual 5K? Or do I need to get a beater G-Shock watch? Oh, you talking about running? I never took my Rolexes off for sports and things like that. I mean, I even often wore Rolexes and things like that when I was playing tennis. I mean, yeah, you can wear them all the time. I mean, water skiing. I mean, you hit the water hard, and the water's the water pressure. They can't take it. Yeah, right. I never had a problem with any of my Rolexes. I was using them in all kinds of conditions. We didn't take our watches off. I mean, we bought the watches to wear them. So no, I don't understand the taking the watches off wrist thing. I don't get that. Now, occasionally when I'd be working on the Land Rover and I'd be up underneath it reaching up to mess with the starter or something like that where I know I'm going to be banging it against metal or something, I might take it off and put it in my pocket, but that was rare. Usually it would stay on because I wouldn't even think about it. But yeah, no, 99% of the time the watch is on the wrist. That's what I buy them for. Let's see here. Old Spice deodorant. Okay, Craig, which would you recommend, the GS SBGE 215G or the SNRO 33 Seiko Prospex LX? Both with spring drive and titanium. Yeah, I hear you, but I've seen the Seiko Prospect units. Refresh my memory, but I think they're even thicker than the Grand Seikos. No. If I was going for a large sport watch, if you will, in titanium, what would I go for? I mean, you're asking the wrong guy. That's what I bought, the 231. I mean, that's the watch. Now, if you want a GMT, they make a titanium GMT that is also amazing. And I considered that one. But I ended up going with the diver. I liked it. I preferred the diver. But this one and the titanium GMT are both stunners and would be the way that I would go. Yeah, that's the way I would go every time. And if you want to save money, buy them used. Yes, do that. Let's see. I use a G-Shock for outside work in the gym use. Go for G-Shock. Life's too short, man. Wear what you want to wear. Buy a nice heavy-duty watch, heavy-use watch, and wear it. The Rolexes can take a beating. Most Omegas can take a beating. Of course, that stunner there can absolutely take a beating. So, Yeah, I would just wear them. Let's see here. I once wore a Seiko on a Ferris wheel ride, and I immediately took it to the AD for a servicing. Craig, I was listening to a video where someone was worried sick about getting dings on the metal bezel surround of their Submariner. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, these people want to keep these things in mint condition. And, well, I mean, half the time they went in debt on a credit card to buy them, and it's their investment, and they want to protect their investment and so on and so forth. They're scared to death to use the watch. I mean, okay. I mean, I wouldn't have bought the watch under those circumstances. I don't get that at all because they're a lousy investment. People come back with examples, specific examples where you would have made a lot of money if you bought this watch. Well, if I was a time traveler, yes, I could buy Microsoft stock. I could buy Apple stock when it was issued. Of course, I would mine Bitcoin on day one, right? I would have mined like 10,000 Bitcoin on my computer. There's a lot of things I would do if I was a time traveler, right? But I'm not. Unfortunately, I can't time travel, so I can't go back and buy 5 red subs and have them new in the box and sell them now at an auction, right? I did own a red sub, and I sold it to Paul Faupel. He still has it, and it's worth quite a bit more money than what I sold it for in the early 80s. I think I sold to him around 1983 or so, maybe $350, $400, something like that. And yes, it's worth quite a bit more money now. But if I had bought any kind of decently performing stock in that same time frame for the same amount, I'd also have a lot more money today. And most watches don't perform like a red sub would perform. So you have to get lucky. You have to buy the right watch and sit on it for 40 years. And yes, maybe you'll do well. But most of the watches people are buying today, including Daytonas or any of those, and if they sit on them for 40 years, I can pretty much guarantee that is not going to be a good investment. They are going to get burned. So there's that. Let's see here. Craig, for the SBGA 285 that has an MSRP of $3,800, what do you think Steve could do for me on that price? Kyle in the house, all cash. I ordered it at GS Beverly Hills, but I don't think they are giving discounts. Yeah, you just have to talk to Steve. I can't second guess what he would do. I can't predict what he would do. I do know that if you mention me and you talk to him, he will give you a good deal because he knows that, that I'm helping him out, and he likes to help out viewers of the channel here. And he does not give me a kickback or anything like that, but he does like to help out the viewers of the channel. So he will do the best he can, but I'm sure it depends on the model and how many he has in stock and how many he can get and all those variables, which I have no clue on that information. But call him. He's a nice guy. He'll talk to you on the phone. Definitely call him. Don't email and all that stuff. Call him and talk to him on the phone. Tell him you're a fan of the channel. He will take good care of you. I personally use the standard DW 5600E since you can keep it in chronograph or timer modes and still displays the time in the corner of the LCD. Okay, there you go. Oh, we're talking about G-Shocks. The Solar Square G-Shock. See, if I was going to wear something like that, I'd just buy an Apple Watch and wear that and get like the full benefit of all the benefits of an Apple Watch because they're very robust as well. I mean, they can take a beating. So aren't dings and small scratches considered patina? Yeah, if they're selling it, yeah, they're going to consider it patina. That's right. If they're buying it, they're going to consider it damage, yeah. Craig, I like to call Rolexes the least worst watch investment you can make rather than the best watch investment. Yeah, people use the term investment so often for all kinds of things. Oh, I'm going to invest in a new camera. No, you're buying a camera. It's a consumable. It's not an investment. Now, it may be equipment that you're going to use in your business and you feel like it's going to help you make money or whatever, but it's equipment. It's not why people always use the term investment. Investment is typically you're buying something, like you're buying part of a company, literally. You're buying an ownership stake in that company, and therefore and then you're trying to get a return on that investment, right? It's a different thing. Yeah, I think that term is used improperly quite often. What we know as we have more white hair is what seems a good business to a lot of people usually is not a good business. Carlos in the house, and Carlos is still skeptical about the Bitcoin. He may end up being right. Of course, in the meantime, I've already made a lot of money on Bitcoin, so I'm happy as can be with the. Well, actually, I'm not happy that I sold some and took profits. I wish now, hindsight being 2020, I wish I'd have kept it all, right? But I've made enough money on my Bitcoin that I'm playing with the house's money at this point, and I'm not selling any more. The rest of it, I'm holding. I'm holding with an iron grip. I met the Adam Meister in, 2016. And he was the one that convinced me to stop selling Bitcoin and just to hold. So since then, I've been holding. I did sell a little bit in that big run-up in 2017. I was just too tempted. I sold some at like 15,000, I think, and some at like 18,000, but not that much. But that's it. Other than that, since 2016, I've been holding with an iron hand. And since that 2017 run-up, I haven't sold any. I'm lockbox. Let's see. Okay, read that. Red sub. Didn't know they made those. Well, the red sub is what they refer to. It's the sub from like the late 70s that had it said Submariner on the dial in red text. Yeah, those are referred to as the red sub, the original ones. Now they make something else with red text on it too to kind of copy off it. But yeah, those are the ones back in the day. I have a video on my channel. Check it out. I think patina is more of the discoloration from oxidation, not dings and scratches. Good point. But no, not like my gold money clip, for example, has a lot of small little dings all around it, and that is a patina. That's referred to as a patina, and it actually makes it look good. It's just like gold watches. They get a patina. They get tiny little dings all around them and all, and they really look good. They look classy. Whereas an old steel watch with a bunch of dings and stuff like that just looks like an old steel watch, right? That's why I say a gold watch that's a vintage watch is a lot more interesting. Like an old Date 8, right, that's been worn, like the one Jack Nicklaus had, right? That's really classy looking and really cool, right? Much more so than if it was just a steel watch. Yeah, much more interesting, I think. Okay, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon, folks. Let's put any questions you have in there, put in the chat. I'll be happy to take a look. The 1680 red sub is called that because the Submariner script on the dial is painted in red. The watch itself isn't red. That's right. Just like many other words, investment has been misused so many times that it barely carries any meaning to most people. Cheatown in the house. The new Sea Dweller 43mm has red script on the dial, but it's too big, in my honest opinion. My friend's 16600 40mm Sea Dweller is perfect. Yeah, I like the old Sea Dwellers back in the day when they first came out. My cousin had one, and they're cool. I like the original Sea Dweller. I forget the year those came out, but he bought one back in the day. I think it was about when they came out. Maybe somebody can let us know in the chat when the original Sea Dweller came out. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. Let me refresh the chat one more time and see what we got. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Whoops. You can really hear me drink when I drink in front of the mic, can't you? It's pretty sensitive. Let's see here. Is there Annapolis Naval Academy noon ceremony in weekends? No, Carlos, I don't think so. Now, don't quote me on that. But I would definitely check with them, and it is well worth going. It is enjoyable to say the least. I did enjoy that. But I would definitely check with them, and they don't always do it. They sometimes, if there's like real bad weather, like a lot of hard rain or something like that, they won't do it. But if the weather's decent, even if it's just like very light rain, they'll probably do it. But I would check with them and see if you can get a handle on that. And I would definitely make a point of going, Carlos, to that. And if the timing is right, I'll rendezvous with you and I'll go. I've been there twice, and I would love to go a third time. So I believe the Sea Dweller came out in 1967. It said Submariner Sea Dweller in red script. That's its name, double red sub. Okay, so that's not the one that my cousin had. My cousin had the one with just Sea Dweller on it. When did it go to just saying Sea Dweller? Do you know? It'd be interesting to know. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap this puppy up. I think we solved all the world's problems once again. Okay, I will check. Thank you. Maybe I can on Friday. Yeah. When are you coming into town, Carlos? Roughly. Like, wasn't it in the spring that you're planning on coming? Because again, once they break for summer break or something, they won't be doing it as well. It's only when they're in session in school, right? That they do that, as far as I know. Because it's in the middle of the school day where they have that assembly, and then they go to lunch. It's really cool to watch in person. It's really cool. So, all right. Well, thank you all. Hey, and please, folks, if you're still anybody that's still watching, treat the guests that I have on this channel that do broadcasts on this channel, treat them with respect. I understand that most of you all are just into the watches, but this channel is about more than just watches. This is about anything that I find interesting, and it's always been about a lot of things. And I always do a lot of product reviews. I've always done that. Event coverage, especially in the nice weather. So just show a little bit of respect to people that are talking about things that aren't on your subject matter. I mean, here's the thing. Every broadcast we do has a title, and you can look at the title. We don't try to use misleading titles. Just look at the title, and that's kind of what the show is going to be about. And I know it's kind of an irritation to get a notification and it's not something you're interested in. Well, just delete it. It's not the end of the world. I'm trying to encourage Steve to do more live broadcasts, and I think he's going to. He's moving into his new house. I think his new home is beautiful. I haven't seen it yet, but from what I understand, it's going to be beautiful, and he's going to have some nice parties there, by the way. But once he gets that all done and gets settled in, I think he's going to be doing some more broadcasts. He's even said he's going to have a studio at his home to do some broadcasts there. So yeah. There's going to be some really cool watch content coming, and when he makes his trip to Grand Seiko and all, there's going to be some cool, probably some live coverage from some of those events going on there. So stay tuned. There is going to be some really cool content coming up later this spring. Let's see here. Early April. Okay, so Carlos is coming in early April. So yeah, that will be fine. They should still be doing their thing, I would think. I already have the tickets and starting to plan. I will go to New York too. Perfect. Yeah, let us know, please let everybody know when you're going to be seeing Steve at Little Treasury, because we'll try to get as many of us as possible to rendezvous there with you. So please let us know. If you're planning on doing that, we'd love to rendezvous with you there. Respect is mutually given, folks. It's not a one-way street. Chi-Town in the house. Let us know when you might be in D.C. We will make it out if schedule works. David in the house. Early April might work. David, that'd be great if David can come into town. We'll all have a party at Steve's new house. We'll break in his new house. we might tear it down to the ground too. You never know. These guys party, folks. Let me tell you something. You get together with David Williams and the gang, and anything's possible. So let's see. Carlos says he's going to go to Las Vegas in the next 1 to 2 years. Well, David gets around. You know, he'll come out. He'll come out to visit you and go to dinner, and everybody go out and have a good time and laugh and all that stuff you guys do. They tear up the town. David says he gets to D.C. 2 times a year in any case. Sure, I will go to Steve's. I will tell you. There you go. Absolutely. All right, this is shaping up. This is going to be cool. I'll call Steve if he can save me enough so I can take a free trip to Maryland. That would be great. Excellent, Kyle. Maybe you can pick up the watch at the same time. You can meet Carlos and everybody. See if you can coordinate that. That would be cool. And Tim's going to come all the way from Australia, I guess, is what he's saying. David's going to bring the Las Vegas Strip to Steve's house. What happens there stays there. Absolutely. We'll get Brianna to come over and do some dancing. We'll get things hopping. Maybe we'll even try to get Christina Denny to come out of retirement, Miss Maryland. Have her come and sing. She's a really good singer. World class, folks. That's the kind of parties that we put on. World freaking class. So I'm gonna end it on that note. Exciting times ahead. We've all invited ourselves to Steve's house. This is good. This is how this works. Brianna's in the house, and she says yes, she'll come to the party. It's going to be a big party. It's going to be a big one. And like I say, we'll get Christina to come in. Toga party at Steve's new house. We're going to tear that place up. You better get that heated pool all ready to go in early April. We'll have an early spring and get it all going on. Bree in the house. Never seen a girl like that here. Yes, she is amazing. I'm telling you, Brianna is absolutely amazing. And let me just say something about Bree. Let me see if I can pull up. Can I pull up her website here? I think I had it here. Yeah. Let me just say something about Brianna, the lovely Brianna. BreeFitDance.com. That's her website. BreeFitDance.com. And here's a young lady that's serious about working hard and getting things done and being in motion. You know, most 20-year-olds, they don't have a clue where they're headed or what they're up to or what they're doing, and from one day to the next. And this young lady has a head on her shoulders, and she is going places. Let me tell you something. This young lady is in motion. She's sharp. She's no dummy. And you look out for some wonderful things from the lovely Brianna. Oh, there she's blowing a kiss to you. I shouldn't have cut that off. She's blowing a kiss to you there. There you go. That's how that works. That's on BreeFitDance.com. Follow her on Instagram and all those good platforms because she's in motion. And I think it's a good thing. I think when you see a youngster like Brianna that's in motion and making things happen, it's a good thing. It gives us hope for the future that we've got people that are serious about doing the right thing. And by the way, she's holding Bitcoin. And she told me the other day that she's never going to sell her Bitcoin. How's that for conviction? She says never. I said, well, when will you sell it? I mean, when it gets to $1 million for one Bitcoin, will you sell it then? No. She said, I'm never going to sell it. So that's what's happening. She's not selling her Bitcoin. Now that is a strong hand, okay? That is a strong hand. Bitcoin is for life, Bree says, in the house. Have a good weekend, folks. There you go. All right, we're going to wrap this puppy up. I thank everybody for popping in. Let's check the 231 Stunner. We've been live for over an hour, coming up almost an hour and 10 minutes. Here in about 30 seconds, it'll be an hour and 10 minutes that we have been live. And we've solved all the world's problems, so that's how that works. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Get out there and make things happen. Be in motion. All you youngsters out there, make things happen. That's the way it works. And we will be back when we're back. We're like an old penny. We turn up occasionally from time to time. You'll find us turn up. And Carlos says, thank you. Bye all. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you all next time, completing this event.